Hello everybody, and welcome to day 3 of... I'm in a different place, aren't I? Well, the main reason for that is because I ate lunch on my couch, and now that I'm sitting down on my couch, it's far too comfy here to move back over to my office. Not to mention, my office is just so far away, it would take so long for me to get over to there, and that's just not something that I'm willing to really deal with right now. But anyway, today is day 3 of our editing and revision process. You have already asked other people to review your papers, so now you're going to be editing your papers on your own using a couple of editing strategies that I'm going to show you. That way your papers can be nice and polished and ready to go for turning in and publishing. Shall we take a look? Alright everybody, so our agenda for the day is talking about self-editing and then finally how to publish and turn in your final draft. So you should be able to edit your own draft for spelling conventions and punctuation and whatnot after using some of these strategies, and you'll be turning in your final draft to me when you're completely 100% done with it. So just a reminder, remember, revising comes before editing. So don't edit the fine details of your paper if you still need to rearrange the big details or have other people give you feedback, because when you rearrange those big details, often you're going to need to redo the editing anyway. So we have some editing strategies that we can use when we're editing our own writing. They include using editing tools like Grammarly, reading out loud to ourselves, using an online dictionary, and a little strategy I like to call cutting out and chopping up. So Grammarly, I'm going to post these slides online so you can access this link if you'd like, but the good thing about Grammarly is it's free to download and connect to your web browser. It's easy. It also catches most mistakes for you, which is pretty nice. The cons about it, though, are that it's not perfect. Sometimes its corrections are incorrect. It will tell you to change something when it was actually fine before. And sometimes it just doesn't catch things, although it's usually pretty good at catching things. Reading out loud to yourself is when you read out loud to yourself as you're going back. The pros of this is it's easy to do for most of us, and your ear will naturally pick up where you should pause and add punctuation or where you might have misspelled words. By reading out loud, you're forcing yourself to carefully and methodically read through your essay. The cons are, though, you do need a quiet place to do it, otherwise it doesn't really work, and you also can't rush through it even though you might be tempted to. You need to really take your time reading through your essays. You can use an online dictionary. The pros of that is Google has made it pretty simple to double check definitions and spellings and stuff online, and you also tend to learn more about new words in the process. The cons are you might not realize you use a wrong word in your essay, so you might not think you need to double check a word in the first place. And finally, cutting out and chopping up. By this, I mean you go through and you identify any long sentences you might have, and you find spaces or you find ways where you can take your longer sentences and break them up into several different sentences, or take a look at a longer sentence and decide, okay, maybe you don't actually need to write this section. Maybe you can just delete this and end the sentence a little earlier. So it's a great way to improve the flow of your essay, making it easier and nicer to read. It helps you find new, cleaner, clearer ways of writing ideas as well. It's not always best to write really long sentences. Sometimes it's better to just be more clear and direct with your audience. It's also best paired with read out loud. It's something you can do while you're reading out loud to yourself. The cons are it does take some time, and you also need to have some knowledge of different sentence structures, like simple sentences versus compound sentences versus complex sentences versus compound complex sentences. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's have me demonstrate some of these strategies for you. Okay, let's go ahead and demonstrate some of these editing strategies on our rough draft, or actually really at this point it's more like a second draft. This is our example of a persuasive essay. As you can see, it's in great MLA formatting all the way to the works cited page. However, in this blue section here, it's not totally awesome yet. We need to go back through and make sure that this can be a little bit more professional. We need to edit it for grammar and spelling. So the first strategy I used was I downloaded Grammarly, and now Now, a couple of red lines have showed up that show me where I need to make a couple of changes. So I'm going to go ahead and hover my mouse over this. First of all, it tells me to add a comma there. So yeah, okay, I'll add a comma there. Second, let's see. Of course not. We're all individuals. Oh, it looks like I accidentally misspelled individuals with two L's instead of one. So Grammarly caught that for me. Good. It already caught two mistakes in this blue section. Probably don't need to worry anymore, right? Wrong, because Grammarly is not perfect. So we're also going to do a couple of our other editing strategies. Let's go ahead and read this out loud to ourselves and see if we notice anything. First of all, students should not wear uniforms because they take away a student's sense of individuality. Imagine the following scenario, based on a census taken in 2019. 30 students sit in desks in a small classroom. Each student wears tan pants and a white shirt, and they sit with their school books and papers in front of them. Okay, so first things first, that sentence is a little long, and second, unfortunately it went away, but Grammarly actually highlighted this word right here earlier. Oops, sorry. This word right here earlier based on a census. So I'll underline that just to pretend that Grammarly is still underlining that. Now I know that I've heard of a census before. A census is when it's when you like take a poll of people or something like that, right? But Grammarly was telling me that this is wrong based on a census. So now at this point, I'm going to move on to my other strategy using an online dictionary based on a census. I mean, maybe it's just misspelled or something, but Grammarly isn't giving me the right spelling. So what is a word for a poll where you count people? Synonyms for census. Oh, wait a second. Census. Oh, this is supposed to be spelled with a C, not an S. Okay, let me double check that. Census, and also I need to add a US. There it is, now it's popping up. A census. Okay, so that's me using my online dictionary, in this case Google, looking up what is a word for a poll where you count people. Apparently I just misspelled that. Okay, finally, let's go ahead and take a look at cutting up and chopping. Cutting out and chopping up, okay? This sentence is kind of a longer one. I wonder if maybe we should change it. Imagine the following scenario based on a census taken in 2019. 30 students sit in desks in a small classroom. Each student wears tan pants and a white shirt, and they sit with their school books and papers in front of them. So this is a pretty long sentence, and I feel like it kind of keeps going on and on. There's this section right here that sounds a little strange to me. Imagine the following scenario based on a census taken in 2019. Imagine the following scenario. I'm about to introduce something. Maybe I'm going to replace this comma with a colon then. Okay. 30 students sit in desks in a small classroom. Each student wears tan pants and a white shirt. You know, I'm going to go ahead and chop this up a little bit. Sentence is a little too long for me. They sit with their school books and papers in front of them. 30 students sit in desks in a small classroom. Each student wears tan pants and a white shirt. They sit with their school books and papers in front of them. Okay, now that I've cut up that sentence, it sounds like it's coming through a little clearer. So once again, 4 strategies you can use when you're editing your paper are 1, reading out loud to yourself, 2, using a editing software like Grammarly, 3, using an online dictionary, and 4, cutting out unneeded information and chopping up your sentences to make them a little bit more manageable. Now, when you're done completely editing your essay and you're ready to turn it in, you're going to go to the Google Classroom, and at the very bottom underneath the Assessments tab, I might actually move this up in a little bit, under Project Final Draft of Persuasive Essay, you're going to open up this attached document after reading the instructions, right? You're going to go to where your final essay is, where you've done all of your editing. You're going to copy it over. Oh, wait, I forgot the Works Cited page. Don't forget the Works Cited page. Copy your entire thing over into this document here that it's going to make for you. Might take a second if it loads. Once you do that, everything should be the same. The only difference you're going to have to make is you're going to have to insert your last name and page numbers here. If you need a reminder of how to do that, you can go back to the MLA citation tutorial video. Please message me if you have any trouble or issues, and this is going to be worth a pretty big part of your grade, so make sure that you do a good job on this and you give your best effort into this.